Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper. It is Monday, May 29th, and I am back. If you missed me last week, it's because I put a halt on my Monday video. Last Monday, we thought our granddaughter was going to be born. We are in charge of babysitting the 3.5 and the 1.5-year-old while Mama goes to the hospital. Labor was false. It was a practice run, and actually we're rinsing and repeating this week. So we also picked up the grandsons last evening, which was Sunday, and we've had them all day today, but I really didn't want to miss another class. The good news is my granddaughter was born this morning. Little Layla Ray was born at 6:04 a.m. and we cannot wait to meet her. We're so excited. But I am doing a class. My grandsons are sleeping in the room next door. My husband is laying with them right now, and I'm trying to be a little bit quieter than I normally am because they're in the next room. But again, I wanted to get a class in. So I'm really excited to join you tonight. We're going to be working on a mega class, and I've had this planned for a while. It's basically a 2-part class, and it's all about the Countryside Inn suite. Now, if you've seen this suite in the catalog, you may know what I'm talking about if I tell you it's all about the blues, and I love the blue colors. I love blue. So make sure you're saying hi as you jump on. I'd like to know that I am, you're able to see and hear me. And we will get going here in just a second. I know Facebook has a lag time. Jess, thank you. Hi, Amy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you're letting me know I'm good. All right, let's get over to my workspace because we're going to work on some cards, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the mega class that I have going on as well. So let's pop over to the workspace. All right, so this is the suite that I'm talking about, Countryside Inn. It's on page 62 and 63 of the annual catalog, right? All of the beautiful blues. I love this paper. Now, you may have seen there's going to be a paper sale. I was talking about the paper sale during the week, and I'm not even sure where my paper flyer is, but all of the Designer Series paper in the back of the catalog, all of the 12x12s, some of the 6x6s. So anything on page 129 through 132, these will be on sale, 15% off the entire month of June, June 1 through 30, right? And this, again, this paper that we're using for the next 2 weeks will be on sale starting June 1st, which is really the end of this week because time is flying by. So we're going to be using the Countryside Corners stamp set, which is really interesting, and the dies. Now, of course, I'm a fan of nesting dies. Anytime you can use nested dies, I love that, right? So these are really great dies. I'm gonna highlight the dies. I really love the dies. The stamp set's a little different. I wasn't so sure about the stamp set. Now, it does have some really great patterns, some geometrical patterns, and of course they all fit the dies, right? So you're gonna be able to cut out layer upon layer upon layer, right? So these dies just nest right in here, and you're able to go through and cut out all of these different elements. And we're actually going to be doing that a little bit during our class tonight. So let's take a look at our cards real quick. This is one we're actually going to be making first. So you can see these nested dies in action with a little bit of stamping. And then you can see them again here. And then this I turned them sideways, right? So you can use, obviously, right, any orientation on these great nested dies. I do love them. We're heavy on the blues here. I love these cards, beautiful colors. We've got Night of Navy, a white base, and then we've got boho blue for this week's class. Now, again, there's going to be a part 2. So next Monday, I'm going to come on live and I'm going to do more cards. We're going to continue with the Countryside Corners bundle and the blues and the designer paper. And what this class offers is, I'm going to bring this in real quick. So we've got Monday, May 29th, that's today, through June 9th, or I'm sorry, June 5th is our next Monday. The host code you'll be using to qualify for this class to get your kits in the mail is HNH3ACN4. And this is what it breaks down to. So if you order with me $50 with this host code, for this first week, you're going to get the 6 card kits. So you're going to get 2 of each of the cards that I just shared with you. You're going to get the rhinestones for free. So I'm using the rhinestones on my card. And you're going to get a DSP sampler. So you're going to get some 6x6 papers of this beautiful designer paper. Now, these papers are not the papers that are in your kit. I want to point out that these are in addition to. So I already have cut up paper for your kits. This paper is for you to use with however you want to do so. Okay, so that's for this week. Now, if you order $50 next week, let's say you want to wait a week and you order $50, you're going to get the 6 card kits from next week. You'll get a ribbon sampler. So I'm going to be sending you some of each of these different 4 ribbons, and you're going to get more DSP. So you're going to get additional pieces of the 6x6 DSP. Now, what I'm doing differently, and this is something that I usually don't offer, is the $100, if you order $100 from my online store either week, so either this week or next week, you're going to get everything that's here. You're going to get 12 card kits, you're going to get the rhinestones, 2 DSP samplers, and the ribbon sampler. And I never ever go backwards on classes, but this particular class, because we're continuing with the same kinds of cards, I am letting you do a double order either week, and you're going to get everything. So a double order is also going to save you on shipping. So if you're ordering $50 this week, $50 next week, you're paying $7.95 shipping for 2 different weeks. If you order $100 once in the next 2 weeks, it's going to save you on shipping. So I wanted to do it that way as well. So if you have questions on that, please let me know. But that is my offer for the next 2 weeks while we talk about Countryside Corners. So we're going to work on our first card here, and we are going to talk about all the stuff that's going to come in your kit to create this card. Probably should talk about the stamp set first. Let's go back to the stamp set really quickly. This is what surprised me. I assumed in the catalog that there was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different stamps. I assumed that each of these was a separate stamp. When I pulled out the stamp to mount it, I was very surprised. It's just one mega stamp. It's one big stamp. So I found it a little tricky to use it if you wanted to just get a little something on here. So I tried a couple of different methods. Now this is red rubber, which is really nice because we can use the Stampin' Right markers and we can color this in. But when we do the stamping with Stampin' Right markers, our image is often really light. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's really light. This is with a Stampin' Right marker, and I just wasn't very happy with it. So on to part 2. So then I decided I'm going to bring in some masking, and I masked my stamp, and I used a spot of Night of Navy to make it a little bit easier, but it was very, I made a mess. It's very splotchy. Now it's a lot darker than the marker. So the marker's here, the Stampin' Spot's over here, but it's messy. I was not happy with that either. So what I'm going to recommend is how we're going to use this tonight. And we're going to use it this way, and it's going to cover all 3 of our cards from this class. And then of course we did talk a little bit about the nested dies. I do adore them. The largest one will fit basically like a large die cut on your A2 size card. So this large die is going to fit here nicely. It's not going to be too big. I always worry about that with the large dies. I'm like, will that actually fit the card front? And in this case, yes, it does. All right, so that's a little bit about the stamp. So our workaround here is going to be this. I'm going to bring in a 1/4 sheet of paper. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's a 1/4 sheet of paper. And we are going to ink up our stamp in Night of Navy. And it's still dirty. I didn't clean my stamp from earlier. So there's still some stains on here from my first go round, but we're just going to do this. So when you get your card kits in the mail, whether you use this or not, if you have this bundle and you're getting the card kits, this is what you're going to do. You're going to use your Night of Navy. You're going to ink the entire thing up. You're going to do one big stamping. I'm going to turn it this way because I think I'm going to be able to handle it a little bit better this way. There's plenty of room on here to get this on here. So we're going to do one big stamping, and then we're going to die cut a whole bunch of these, and we're going to get so much use out of this. It's amazing. So there we go. So here is, and it's a gorgeous little image. Like if you just use this on your card, it would be gorgeous, right? So I do adore that. Now, I have to say that this is what you're going to have left over right here when you're done with this. So with the card kits, we're using everything but this. So we're not using the big outline, but we're going to use all of the inner pieces today on our cards. So we're going to be doing a little bit of die cutting as we go. All right, so let me get my kit, bring my kit back in here so we can start with this kit right here. So we do have the boho blue base. This is a new in color. And all of these blue colors work so nicely together. So in your kits, you're getting 2 envelopes. I have a piece stuck in here. 2 envelopes, as always, 2 card bases. So you're making 2 of each. I'm just going to set those aside because I do have a card base scored and ready to go. Okay. And I punched out some pieces for you, so I'm just going to do a little separating here. This one right here, you will be die cutting. So I'm going to show you that you will be using one of the dies to die cut a piece out. So that's these 2 papers right here are meant to die cut, and I already did that part, so I wouldn't have to do it, you know, while we're doing our card assembly. we have a very lovely, lovely piece of embossed cardstock. This is actually part of the suite. It is the Countryside Blossoms embossing folder, and I just want to point out that this is the reason that this suite was out of stock for a while, is that this embossing folder was out of stock. It is back in stock. This is a regular embossing folder. It gives you a really great pattern right here, but it's one of the regular embossing folders, so you're actually going to put this through your die cutting machine with 2 clear plates next to it. So it's not the 3D where you use the gray plate. This is the 2 clear plates, and we don't have as many of those anymore. And you're going to see here that I did do a little bit of sponging, and it adds such a difference here to this. It's just gorgeous. You will get this embossed piece. You don't have to have this folder if you don't have that. That's perfectly fine. And you're going to get your pieces of designer series paper. This is for our sentiment. So what we need to do is we need to cut some of this out because we need this piece right here. So we're actually going to do that together because I need to get these cut, and I wanted to share with you how to cut the different layers. So I'm bringing my die cutting machine and my piece of paper. I'm going to flip my plate over. I feel like it needs a little flip here. Okay, so now we're just going to go through our dies and we're going to find the ones that we need. So we want to get this one right here where we have this cute little flowery pattern right here, but we're also going to cut one extra one. So we're going to cut this one out too because we want the center to be open. So I'm just making sure they're lining up properly, and then I'm going to bring in my top plate if I can find it in the craft room. I think it's missing. Oh my goodness. Here it is. Clear plate. I found it. I have been like zooming around a little bit here. All right, so we're going to do those 2 together at the same time. So we're just going to run this through, and I'm going to move my machine out of the way, and we're going to see what we have and what we have left. So here's our little outline that we're going to use on our card, and then this piece right here that we also cut out, we're actually using this piece on our 3rd card. So I'm going to set that aside. We don't need that one right now. I'm also going to set this aside because we're going to do some more die cutting with this later on to get more pieces for the card that we're creating. So we'll set that aside and bring in just what we need to put our card together here. So again, we have this beautiful base. We're going to do a little bit of sponging. We're going to sponge on a couple of these things so you can see what a difference the sponging will make. I do need to grab a piece of paper. I am just slightly miscombobulated. It's a lot of work watching little children. I am not used to the watching of the little children all day. All right, so I'm going to bring in some Night of Navy and some boho blue ink and let's see, do I have the right colors? This one's going to be balmy blue. And okay, so I've got my little blender brushes. So we're going to start with Night of Navy. Since I grabbed that one first, it's in my hand. So on this die cut right here that we have, we're going to look at the nicer edge, and we're going to just get some ink here on our blending brush. We're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So I'm just going to come over here and just kind of start at the bottom, work my way up about 1/3 of a way. And we're just going to add some ink here onto that and change the color of that. Now we're going to bring in the boho blue, and we're going to bring in another blending brush, and we're going to come down a little bit this time. So we're just going to kind of come down, darken that up a little bit, and I try to not meet the middle. I try to leave a light space in the middle that's the original cardstock color, so I really have a blend of 3 different colors there. Now while I have out this boho, we're actually going to come top and bottom on our emboss piece just to bring in a little bit of color here, top and the bottom. And you can flip it if it's easier for you, do it on the sideways. It's just however you feel comfortable getting a little bit of ink on there. So you can see how pretty that is. It really brings out the pattern in here as well. Love it. Let me close that ink up, move that aside. So now we're going to do a little bit of assembly. So we've got our card base. We have our embossed piece. It's very lovely. We're going to go ahead and add some adhesive on here. I'm a little heavier with adhesive with an embossed piece because it has to fill in all those little nooks and crannies. All right, so we're just putting this on. Very lovely. Always make sure you know which way that's going to open as well. Now we're going to add on our designer series paper. And of course, two-sided, right? So you always have options. And when you get this at home, you're going to have options too. But we're going to bring this in and kind of bridge the middle here a little bit. And this will fit side by side, side to side here, I should say. This is 4 inches wide, so it's fitting on here really nicely. And then we're going to bring in the blue, the darker blue designer series paper. It's the opposite side, as you can see. And we're going to just put this across here, kind of creating that nice little base, right? So here's the bones of the card. Here's the bones before we add in the rest of the items. Now, we have somewhere, here we go. Here's this piece right here that we made really pretty. So again, this is the pretty, and this is what it looked like before we started. So this is what it would look like if we just put it on without embossing it. And this is what it's going to look like when we put it on with, or I'm sorry, with the sponging. It just makes such a difference, doesn't it? I love the richness of it. So we're going to add some adhesive just along the edges of this. This is kind of a skinny piece, but not too skinny, right? So we're going to go ahead and pop this on here. This is going to fit exactly this little frame. They are the same size. And as you're looking at the frames, you know, think about using these as cutaways. You could put a sentiment in here. You could heat emboss this at this point if you wanted to. We're just kind of creating a fun little element here for our card. And then I'm going to bring in, I'm done with that for right now. We're going to bring in a little, the sentiments. So because our stamp set, our featured stamp set, right, is just imagery. It's just the Countryside Corners images. So we needed to have an entire stamp set with mostly sentiments. So I chose Lasting Joy, which is on the next page over from the Countryside Suite. So there's a lot of great sentiments here, but this one is going to be a birthday card. So we're going to use the birthday, happy birthday stamp. Birthday wishes. Look how fancy that is. I love the font on there. It's just beautiful. We're going to use Night of Navy because it's a nice dark color. Ink up our photopolymer so we can see right through it. We can find the best place to put this on our oval. I love this punch, by the way. This is the double oval punch. So the punch has the scallop piece and then the oval piece that work beautifully together. You're getting the punched pieces in your card kits. So if you don't have all these little extra things, the card kits are nice because then you have some different pieces to play with and try out, see if you like them. So these fit nested. Again, the nesting, I love the nesting, right? Those fit so nicely together. We're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this piece. Those are my rhinestones. Let's bring in the dimensionals. And we're going to pop on 5. We're going to do the middle and the 2 on the upper, 2 on the lower. So we've got 5 dimensionals here. It's going to just give us a nice little lift, if you will. Now this card, as I'm finishing this card just has the rhinestones on it today. I'm going to keep the darker, the navy side at the bottom and then the lighter side here at the top, because I just think that looks a little bit nicer that way. This fits on here really nicely as well for the height of the designer series paper in the back. And I'm going to put birthday wishes right here, but I'm going to put 1 dimensional on this part of the wishes part, right? Or the part that's over here. And then I'm going to add glue to this piece right here. And then when I put this across, it fits beautifully. We don't have a wobbly situation. Just like that. Okay, so this is the rhinestones. I'm using the rhinestones because this is your freebie this week with your order if you order 50 this week. Again, if you order 100, you're going to get the rhinestones. You're going to get everything. You're going to get all the things. But I wanted to use the rhinestones, and then if you do get the whole kit with the ribbon sampler, you'll be able to add ribbon to this too if you wanted to. But I didn't want to put ribbon on because I'm not sending ribbon with just this one set of the kits. So we're going to put just some rhinestones on here, make it pretty and blingy. These silver are perfect, of course, with the blue. I think the silver and blue look really nice together. So there's a look at our very first card. Really elegant and simple. Lots of fun. I'm just going to check messages really quickly. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Linda and Connie. Okay, very good. I'm glad you guys are here watching tonight. All right, so that's card number 1, and just really simple, right? The designer paper really makes this card pop because it's just so pretty. And of course, there's lots of good options with this designer paper too. All right, we're gonna move on to our second card. And our second card, it's gonna have a little bit more stamping on it. This one is really fun. I don't know, this one might be my favorite, even though I really loved the first one too. So let's take a look at our card kit here. We have, as always, right, 2 of everything. So we've got the 2 thick white card bases. I'm just gonna set those aside. You've got this fun, modern circle, kind of like it's kind of an odd shaped punch. It's kind of scallopy, but not quite scallopy. All right, so I'm just grabbing out, you've got some designer series paper. Now I'm going to point out that on the opposite side of this pattern that I'm using is bunnies. So if you're really a fan of the bunnies, right, you could use the bunnies if you wanted to. And it's a little confusing because there's going to be 2 in here. Actually, they're all the same size. Wow, that's so cool. I don't think I realized that when I wrote out my directions. I will when I type them up. So you're going to have a piece that's going to go across your card base. If I can find my card base. You're going to have a piece that's exactly 4 1/4, and then you're going to have pieces. You're going to have a piece that you're going to die cut right here, and you're going to get this one. So you're going to use your dies, your nested dies, and you're going to use this one and cut out a piece right here, which is going to go on here. So you have extra pieces for that, and that's what that is all about. So let me just grab out. Okay, let me get myself situated here again. Make sure I have everything we need, because we are going to need this big piece right here. So remember when we stamped this at the beginning, this is our big Night of Navy. We're going to take a whole bunch of this out of here. So we're going to die cut this again, and we're going to, this time, cut out, if I can get them off my magnet sheet. I'm having trouble getting everything picked up tonight. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut just like this, because we don't want this dots on the outside, but we do want the next couple of layers. So let's bring in the die cutting machine again. One more time tonight. And we're gonna get this one cut up. So we'll take this. Now I think this is really kind of neat because we're just taking one stamped image. We did one big stamped image. We're die cutting out all of our different shapes from this image, and we're actually filling up. We're doing 3 cards, but you could definitely do, you know, you've got one yet for the fourth for a 4th card. So I like that you can do this and get a little bit more mileage out of it, right? You're not constantly, you know, stamping and die cutting and stamping and die cutting different paper. You have just one big piece of paper and you're getting all kinds of things out of it. So we just use that die, which is the second smallest down, and we cut out this, which we're going to use for the frame of this card. Now remember, I'm using these in some different ways today, and this is what you have left over, right? So you could put this on a card front right here. This could be a card front, and you could decorate the inside of it and then keep this as the outside. That's a choice too. So I'm using these in different ways, and I'm going to continue to use them in different ways, which is really fun. So let's bring our card parts and pieces back in. We are going to be doing some stamping. We're going to stamp right on our card base this time. We are going to stamp on our die cut right here, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment piece. So let's bring in Night of Navy, because we're using Night of Navy for everything here. So again, I'm bringing in the Lasting Joy stamp set. May the years ahead be filled with lasting joy is the one that fits really nicely in this little circle. So I thought that would be great. We're going to use the big flower, and we're going to use the smaller flowers. So there is a little bit of floral imagery here besides all the amazing sentiments that are in the stamp set. So let's get our Night of Navy ink moving. Let's see. Oh, I grabbed this one first. So we're going to do the sentiment first. May the years ahead be filled with lasting joy. That's beautiful. That would be a great sentiment, I think, for a wedding card. Of course, it would also be retirement, right? Because if you're retiring, you probably want some good joy, right? It could also be maybe a new job. It could be college congratulations, you know, graduate from college. So there's all kinds of things you can use that kind of a sentiment for, I believe. All right, so we're going to bring the big flower in, And this is our die cut. Again, I want to look to make sure I have the right side up because there is a better side to each. And I'm just going to go ahead and just do the random stamping here. I'm going to do kind of some at the top and bottom. Now we're only going to see part of this. The whole thing's not going to be seen. But we're going to just do some random stamping here so you can see the tone on tone. It's a really dark effect. And then we're going to bring in this little spray of flowers. There's 4 different flowers here. Okay, I want to make sure I'm opening the right way. And we're just going to come along the bottom here. And we're just going to do a little pattern here along the bottom. Now the nice thing is that this big one is kind of the leading flower. So if you line up the big one and turn a little bit, you can kind of, you know, figure out the best way to get that little pattern across there. And I'm just going to do kind of a dry fit here. I'm going to put my Night of Navy here on my card base so that I can see that I have the flowers showing here. And I want the flowers also to be showing right up here at the top. So I'm going to kind of eyeball about where I want to make my next row of flowers go. So we're going to come this way. Now if you need to get out a ruler and do that, you certainly can. We're just doing kind of straight across, right? It wasn't horribly crooked. And if I cover up a little bit of each on either side, I'm okay with that. But this is the effect that I'm going for. Really cute, right? All right, so I think we did all of our stamping for this one. I'm going to close up this ink so I don't make more messes. And we're going to do some assembly. So let's start with our layers here. So we've got this Night of Navy, which is going to come across here. Navy and white are such gorgeous colors together. I love them. All right, so this is going to come the entire width of your card base, right? So this is 4 1/4 wide. So we're just kind of lining that up so it comes right across. We're going to put our designer paper on. Of course, you know, you've got the options for bunnies. You're not going to see a lot of the bunnies, actually. You would only see a little bit of bunnies. Really cute paper. But I am going to keep it kind of generic here because I'm not sure what I'm going to use this card for someday. So I'm going to go with the stripy pattern instead. And that's going to just layer right on there. Nice little layer. Now we're going to put these two together. So this was our big die cut. And this is going to go right over top of this. Now because the blue, the Night of Navy, is smaller, I don't want to put glue everywhere. So I'm just going to focus on the glue right along the edges of the inside edges of this. So just kind of close to the inside so that when I put this down, and it doesn't have to be perfect because the pattern is random, right? So the pattern that we stamped on the front is random. So it doesn't have to line up. I mean, it could be a little crooked here. It could be off to one side or the other. The basic thing you want to do is just make sure that you have cardstock covering the entire opening here. And there you go, just like that. So we're going to put this on again with some dimensionals, which I just lost, I'm sure, in the craft room. Everything gets set aside. All right, so dimensionals, here we go. I'm going to put a couple here and a couple down here at the bottom. Look at my options, make sure I'm happy with that. We're going to put a couple in the middle, maybe one in the middle. I feel like it doesn't really need too many. Okay, yep, I'm good with one in the middle. So let's remove these 5 backings and pop this on. Now, of course, I'm using the white and navy today. I'm going heavy with the blues. But this could be, and it might be, if I do a color swap, right, this coming week, this could be in multiple colors. This could be different colors, that's what I should say. It doesn't have to always be the blue and the white. That just happens to be what I'm working with. So we're going to layer these together. We're kind of offsetting them a little bit. So we're just getting the shadow here, kind of along the top and the side. And I'm choosing to put the shadow on the right side so that when I put my paper down, I have the light blue here on the dark. You could, of course, you could put the shadow this way, but I felt like it disappeared a little bit on the designer series paper. But if you prefer that look, you could put it that way and have the blue over that way and have the white more crisp that way. Definitely however you feel like doing it. I'm just going to go ahead and add some glue here in the middle. Not going to go too close to the sides because I'm going to just kind of move this around a little bit. Actually, I kind of like that. I want it to be a little bit off. I don't want it to be a perfect shadow. I want it to be kind of wavy like that. And I'm going to put one dimensional on the end where it's going to kind of come off. And then I'm going to put glue over here on this side and stack my layers just right, like that. So pretty, right? There we go. And then we're going to add in our bling. So again, the rhinestones are beautiful. Looks like I added a couple of bigger ones down this way, a medium, and another medium up here. So there we go, card number 2. So these are really quite simple cards to make, right? They're really pretty. They're very, you know, just easygoing, nice little cards. So that's card number 2. And now we're going to jump into card number 3, which is our Knight of Navy card. All right, so our third card here, of course, we got all the parts and pieces cut up for you. I've got a little bit of embossing going on here, some designer papers. You've got a little bit of balmy blue this time. So we've got balmy blue with Knight of Navy and our card bases. Let's set those aside. I'm going to bring in a card base that's already ready to go. And again, this is a great, I love how you can just kind of, I'm going to show you real quickly, this paper. I don't think these ones match, but this is basically the same pattern, right? So we're going to put this one up, we're going to put this one down. You could flip them the opposite way. I love that about the designer series paper, that you can just kind of mix and match them. And we are going to, okay, so with the blue right here, this is meant to be die cut again into one of these little shapes here from our nesting dies. So you're going to take this blue, you're going to die cut it, and then you're going to have this piece. And this is the piece, again, from the one that we stamped at the beginning. We're just going to layer this together, and we're going to continue to stamp in that. So this one is really simple. This is just a lot of gluing, really. So I'm going to go ahead and put my designer series paper down first. Get this little matted look going here. Get my leafies at the top, and I'm going to put this little pattern at the bottom. So the hardest part is just deciding which paper you want to have facing up. So there we go. We've got those on there. There could be a little gap here depending on how close you put them, you know, together to the top and the bottom, and that's okay. This is going to cover, actually the white is going to cover over first. The white's going to go on here, and then the blue is going to go on here. So it's going to cover up your seam. So let's go ahead and put these together. We'll put the blue on the white first. So again, this is a great embossed piece. This is from the Basics 3D embossing folders, one of my favorite patterns. I kind of go back and forth between two of them. And one's my favorite one day and one's my favorite the next day. So I'm going to try to get this on here straight. I think I have this a little bit higher at the top than the bottom, but I'm just going to go with that tonight. We're going to put the adhesive on the back of this white piece, and we're going to cover over the seam here for sure. So you can go up as high as you want, you can go as low as you want, you can kind of hang out in the middle if you want to. These are great options. And you have 2 card kits. When you get these in the mail, you can, because you have 2, you can make them completely different if you want to. So we're going to bring in, again, our Lasting Joy stamp set. And we're just bringing in the Thinking of You, because this actually fits perfect in this little nested area here. I'm going to bring in Knight of Navy one more time. And we're going to ink this up, Thinking of You. And we're going to put this right in the middle. Right in the middle. Now I want you to know that as you're looking at this, at your block, and you're looking at the sentiment, and you're looking at the blue underneath, it is a little bit of one of those distorted, like looking glass mirror type weird things, but Thinking of You does fit in here really nicely. It almost looks like this was just one big stamp, right? It's like I stamped all of these things at the same time, even though I didn't. All right, so we're taking advantage of the nesting, right? So I'm not nesting it completely center, because we don't always have to do that. I'm actually moving my sentiment piece far over here to the right and kind of butting them up together on the end here and leaving more blue this way. Now, if you wanted to center them completely, you could. I just wanted to share that there are different ways that you can use them to nest. So they don't have to always be matchy perfect, right? They can offset each other. One can be higher than the other or lower. Be off to the side, get that little shadow. There's lots of ways to use the nesting pieces, and I love them for that reason. So we're going to just, the dimensionals on here, this is again going to come right over to the edge of my card. So I'm going to just bring this right over to the edge of the Night of Navy, just like so. So here we have it this way. I should probably bring in my other card so you can see it. This one went together super quickly, super simple to make. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring in 3 of these smaller little rhinestones, pop them in over here on the side, kind of coming down along my sentiment piece. And there it is, just like that. That one was really quick and easy, right? That might be the fastest Monday card I have ever made. So I'm going to bring them all out again so that you can see how beautiful they look together. And you tell me which one's your favorite. We've got the Thinking of You, the may your years be filled with joy. So we'll call this Thinking of You, Joy, and Birthday Wishes. These are the 6 cards that you'll get to make with your card kits this week or next week, depending on when you place your order. So that is it. I'm going to pop over and check. Hi Jess, I know how much you love blue too. We are blue fans. Hi Deb, thanks for watching. Yes, this is an interesting stamp set for sure. Hi Debbie, nice to see you here. This is, when I opened that stamp set today, I was shocked. I could have fallen on the floor. I thought for sure there was going to be individual little rectangular shapes that you would stamp them one at a time and die cut. I did not know that it was going to be one. It's almost a background stamp really, and I think that it's going to be really fun to use it kind of as a background stamp. Jess likes the Joy. I like that one too. Sandra likes Birthday Wishes. That one's really pretty. Sometimes it's hard to decide which one's your favorite. So again, this is the mega class, right? Even though it was a short class, next week will probably be roughly about the same. They're a little bit shorter in classes, but it's going to all combine into one big class because we're going to continue to use the same products, and I'm going to use them in different ways next week. So you saw me use them today and you're like, okay, that's cool. Watch me use them next week. I'm going to change some things up and try new different ways to use them. Sandra loves the blues too. I know, they're so gorgeous together. So again, mega class, this is part 1. Come back and see me next week for part 2. We're going to actually be using different blues. There's so many blues that match this beautiful paper. This is just some of the blues. We're going to get more blues in next week as well. So I will try to do a Thursday at 3 this week. I believe I will be back on schedule by Thursday. So come back and see me for a Thursday at 3. I'm going to be using the same suite for the next 2 weeks, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I am. If you have any questions on the dies, the stamp set, and my mega class offer, please let me know. I will be sending out some email reminders. I will be talking a little bit more about the offer, the specials that you're going to get, and I think it's great that you really can wait until the end of next week and still get this class and the next week's class and all of the freebies with one giant order, right? So, and don't forget, paper sale starts too. I believe that would be Thursday. This week, paper sale is going to start. So if you're looking for things to order so that you can get this class, paper sale is going to be a good way to go. All right, everyone, thanks again for joining me. I am so excited to be able to share this with you today. And I will see you again soon. Take care and have a great evening. All right, bye-bye.